I might come back and I might come back again and broadcast from here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Drinks with Kate. Broadcasting 10 people. Hey, hi, Rob and Deb. Yes, I'm here at Angela's house. You guys don't know Angela except for by her name, Angela and Simon Hall. Hello, Shappy and Rod. How you going? Lovely to see you. Angela has put on quite the spread. Angela, I'm gonna turn the computer around so you can wave to everyone and show your food. Is that okay? Angela's like, don't put me on TV. Look, there's the food that Angela's made and the wine. And there's Angela. And we've got Ethan in the kitchen. Hey! So we've got everything's going on. It's very exciting. Hello, Kay. How you going? I hope your hip's getting better. No wine, but enthusiasm and coffee pie. Excellent. So I hope you guys have got some lovely Mexican flavors. Hello, Emily and Kevin. Hello, Craig's back. Hi, don't churros. Yummy. Are you going to dip them in chocolate sauce before you have them with your Pinot? That sounds unreal. Okay, so let's make this thing happen. Penny, hello. Live Mexican, absolutely. Shell's back from Tokyo. Woohoo! Well done. Well done. And you're probably sick of Japanese food, so a little bit of Mexican's probably exactly what will fix your jet lag. Peter and Karen are here. Hello. Jeff and Sue. Hello, Sarah, and all the tricks. Lovely to see you. Okay, let's get this thing happening. So what I was showing you that Angela's made, she's made some, it's really nice to rock up and get fed. I have brought some wine, so I haven't come completely empty-handed. Hi, Peter. It is a nice house, isn't it? Hello, Zach, Jack, and Hannah with tacos. Excellent to hear. Angela's made some guacamole. Hello, Alison. We missed you last week. Glad to have you back. You made it. Excellent. So we've got some guacamole, which is nice and kind of oniony and garlicky and delicious. She's also made this beautiful slow-cooked beef chili with ancho chilies and some chocolate in it. So that looks amazing, and some corn chips to scoop it on. So I'm going to see if I can actually eat and talk and drink at the same time tonight, which you all know always goes so well. But before we start, you guys can all start on the food. Let's get this wine open. Devil Bean Creek 2020. And Ethan, if you need to make noise back there, don't you worry about it. I can cope now with background noise. I'm very professional now. I'll try not to shout at you. 2020 Devil Bean Creek. And let's get that into a glass. I put mine, because mine's been sitting in the car all day, I popped it in the fridge for just 20 minutes. It wasn't warm, but I think there you go, Angela. Thank you. It wasn't really warm, but on a sunny day like today, I like to start with my Pinot a little bit cooler than outside. Hello, Sonia and Kurt. Lovely to see you. Getting your tacos ready. Excellent. So, yeah, don't be afraid to chill your Pinot Noir a little bit. You don't want to be fridge cold, but on a sunny day, which it sort of is here in Melbourne, just a little chill on it is quite a good way to start, because if it's too cold and you're not getting enough perfume from it, you can always use your hot little hands to warm it up. Anyway, cheers, everyone. Look at that beautiful colour. 2020, we've been looking at the 2020 single vineyard Pinot. So one of the reasons I'm here, I'd like to say it's just because I've come to visit my friend Angela, who I don't visit often enough. But I was in Melbourne all day, and we thought this would be a very good excuse to catch up. But I was at the trade with my distributor. Hello, Craig. Dry and unusually tannic. Craig, what temperature are you serving it at? Because it is quite dry. There's a bit of tannin there, but I don't think it's more tannic than what we're seeing here. Is because of the light colour, we expect it to be maybe a little bit lighter, a bit more rosé-like. So I think that's maybe why the structure is a little surprising to start off with. I think also, depending on what you're eating with it, or what temperature you've got it at, then it might that might accentuate the tannins. I think that's why I was saying maybe just a little tiny chill on it to kind of just soften those tannins a little bit. And and let the air in. Get the air into it and let that sort of open it up, because it's quite perfumed. But I do think, compared to previous Devil Bean Creek Pinots that we've looked at, and we have had this wine last year, but I thought it'd be nice to look at it again, and we just about sold out of it. So nice chance to have a last look at it before we move on to the 2021. But from good evening, Jeff. How are you? But from 2020, all of the Pinots are quite pale in colour, but have really nice structure. So you've got to let that perfume kind of come up, and with a bit of air in the wine, and maybe with a little bit of food. So I'm not sure whether the food tonight is going to bring out the beauty of the wine, or whether the chili, it might fight with a little bit. So this is a little experiment for all of us. I've had some softer red wines with Mexican food before, but I haven't had this one in particular. So if you are finding it a little bit, if it's not a nice kind of cool temperature, you might want to just grab a little ice bucket with some ice, if that's easy. Chuck it in on top of the ice briefly. Now, what's Emily cooked? Ceviche de pescado and tacos de tinga de pollo. Oh, lovely. Yum. Sounds delicious. And coincidentally, Ethan's actually also making Mexican food tonight. He's doing a school project. What are you making?
I'm making taco ravioli. It's like ravioli with taco filling.
Did you hear that, guy? Taco ravioli. Ravioli with taco fillings. He's put a bit of hot sauce in the pasta dough, and he's just flattening out that pasta dough now. I wish I was staying for dinner. I think it's going to school tomorrow, though. I don't think it's dinner tonight, is it?
No, I'm just eating it.
Just eating it, are you? Okay, cool. Excellent. I like how school works these days. You just come home, cook some food, eat the food, and then you get an A+ for your assignment. You have to take a photo of it and Instagram it so that everyone knows that it existed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this Pinot Noir, quite a cool vintage, 2020. And so you've got that lighter colour. You've got that lovely kind of red cherry fruit, which should be kind of opening up. Craig, is yours opening up a little bit more? Maybe it just chili con carne, Penny. That sounds lovely. I find the aromas of Mexican food work really well with this Pinot anyway, because I can smell from the food that Angela's created, and probably also coming from the kitchen, a bit of coriander and some cumin kind of spice. Cumin, however you want to say it. The beef, the slow cooked beef, if you've done beef, or beans, if you've just gone for beans, work really well with those flavours. There's often tomato in your Mexican food. But all the other flavours, Craig, until you add a chili scone, it's like drinking Pop Rocks, in a good way or a bad way, I think. So it is quite interesting to see how they work with each other. I'm going to have a corn chip, and I'm going to have some guacamole first, because I think, you kind of go, well, okay, so we've got squashed avocado with onion and garlic and maybe some hot sauce in there, and what else is in there? Oh, lime juice. So those are kind of quite challenging flavours for wine to cope with, and that's why most of the time when we have Mexican food, we sort of go for a beer or maybe a margarita or some other tequila or mezcal flavoured drink. But I maintain that Pinot Noir, like this wine, can work with these flavours. It might not be a classic match, but I think it can work. And I'm more convinced that the meat will work with the chili, but I'm going to give this a go. So I'm going to shove this in my mouth, and I've just realised it's way too big a piece for me to talk and chew and all that. So you're just going to have to talk amongst yourselves. I reckon it works. I reckon it works really well. I'm going to have Angela's done a nice little bowl of coriander. Coriander is another thing that's very important in Mexican food and is very divisive for people. Some people hate coriander and lots of people love it. I love it. You can chop up a bit of that in your guacamole. You can put it on top of your chili con carne. Peter and Karen, I'm glad you like the chili recipe. It takes a little while to cook, but it's pretty simple, and it's not my recipe. It's I stole it from a cookbook, but Thomasina Mears has done really good things with Mexican food. I cook, and so that little green kind of tangy coriander flavour works really well with the sort of the red cherry and the slightly herbal notes in the Pinot Noir. So I think as the wine opens up, you get more of that red cherry. So Alison's getting the cherry, absolutely. And sort of that sweet sort of cherry fruit character works really nicely with the chili that we're having, because a lot of chili is quite fruity as well. Once you get past the actual hotness of it, chili can have quite a fruity kind of note to it. And then the tannins can be a little bit counterintuitive with chili, but they work well with the oiliness of the avocado. So it's about picking a Pinot Noir. I think if we had a Pinot Noir that was a little bit heavier and a bit oakier, it would work less well with this food than this Devil Bean Creek Pinot Noir, because it doesn't have any new oak. It's all about that kind of crunchy fruit, and so it's doing really yummy things. Cheryl, what have you said? Andrew made his vegan Crunchwrap Supreme Taco Bell dish. You'll have to send me the recipe. The wine really brings out the coriander. Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got coriander in the food, the wine kind of accentuates that coriander flavour. Craig, I hope that you're not having too traumatizing an experience there. It's all about kind of playing with wine and food, and it was one of the reasons I said maybe have some sour cream or some plain yogurt, or some Angela's got some feta here, so that if you're getting too much chili burn from the food, have some dairy, have a glass of water after the dairy, and then have the wine again, and it'll taste completely different again. So often, I don't know why I just put that corn chip in my mouth while I was trying to talk. It's like I've got a compulsion or something to eat. When you're trying to match food and wine, sometimes it's really easy because the wine and the food have grown up together. In Mexico, yes, they do grow grapes and make wine, but it's not as much of a tradition as say beer and tequila, mezcal, spirits. Okay, Craig, went straight to the chocolate churros. Now it's like a party in your mouth. Excellent, good, fantastic, Craig. I'm so pleased. And this is one of the funny things that I get a lot of restaurants that go, oh, okay, we're going to do a Moorooduc dinner. Can we match the Pinot Gris on skins with dessert? And I'm like, no, that'd be awful, because it's kind of quite tannic and dry. And I think actually, if you want to use any of our wines to match to something desserty, I reckon this Devil Bean Creek wine, it's not going to work with, excuse me, it's not going to work with a chocolate mousse. I've still got my little throat from Queensland last week. The pollens up there are deadly. I'm nearly better, but not quite. Chocolate mousse isn't really going to work with this wine. A pavlova is not going to work with the Pinot Noir. But if you have something like churros, sort of, fried dough, bit of sugar, bit of cinnamon on it, not too sweet, maybe a little bit of chocolate to dip it into, maybe not. I think that could work quite well with this wine. The other thing that I've said to a couple of restaurants when they're freaking out about not having a dessert wine to serve with dessert is, why not use the Devil Bean Creek Pinot Noir and make a sangria? Yeah. It's not such a silly idea. Sacrilege. I know. Half of them go, wow, great idea. And the other half go, you can't do that to this beautiful wine. But you can do anything you like to wine, whatever you want. You can, if you like to. I was at a dinner on Tuesday night, a Moorooduc dinner down on the Mornington Peninsula, and an older Italian man was at the dinner, and we had all the wines, and he was like shoveling handfuls of ice into his wine. He's like, oh, this is how I drink my wine. I'm like, okay, well, it's your wine. You can drink it like that. I said, maybe if you want the temperature to be a bit cooler, you could put the bottle of wine on ice and not dilute the wine with the ice box. He's like, oh, no, this is my trick for being able to drink more. So So he was very pleased with himself. And I'm like, you know what? You've paid the money to come to the dinner, you bought the wine, you can drink it however it makes you happy. I don't think putting ice in wine is a really great way to make it taste at its best. But if it's really warm and it's a hot day and the only way you can make your wine Shell, you're very naughty. um, if it's a hot day and your wine's too warm and you've got no way of cooling the bottle down, yeah, chuck some ice blocks in. It'll dilute the wine a little bit, but it'll make it more enjoyable to drink. Some people like to put strawberries in their champagne, which I also think is a complete waste of good champagne and a complete waste of good strawberries. But if that's what makes you happy, then go for it. Right. How are we going? Oh, Shell, how was the wine in Japan? Or did you just drink beer and whiskey and sake? I'm going to try Angela's slow-cooked beef now because it smells amazing. It's in lovely chunky bits, so I'm going to be chewing for a moment. So you guys are just going to have to talk amongst yourselves. I might put a little bit of coriander on top. See how that goes. Doesn't that look nice? A little tostado of beef. Can I fit it in my mouth? How does that work? Fantastic flavours, Angela. Thank you. And the beef and the chocolate and the chili, the chili's quite subtle, which I like. It's got a sort of fruitiness again to the dish, and it brings out the cherry in the wine. The coriander brings out those little herbal notes in the wine. I think it works really nicely. I think if I was sitting down to, a plate of some of that slow cooked chili and rice, or some soft tortillas, or just exactly what we've got here with the crunchy corn chips and the guacamole and the slow cooked beef, a really fantastic food and wine match. Actually, I think I'm quite pleased with that. I wasn't sure whether it was going to work, but I think it works. What do you think, Angela? Do you think the flavours work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yep. Awesome. Shell, the wine at Combini's was all from big producers. Yeah, cheap. Well, at least cheap. When I've been to Japan and tried to drink wine, it's been outrageously expensive. So I don't drink wine in Japan as a rule. I drink Japanese alcohol, or I don't drink alcohol at all. I do that every now and again. It's kind of, I go to Japan for a detox. No, that's not quite true. Japanese whiskey is fantastic, and in Japan it's really cheap. Here it's really expensive because they just bring over the collector's stuff that you only get like 20 bottles coming to Australia. But Japanese whiskey is great in a highball. Japanese love a highball. Bit of whiskey, top up the tall glass with soda and ice. Yeah, Shell, exactly. A highball is fantastic. Very refreshing. Could be my drink for summer. And you can actually make a mock highball just with soda water and ice. Might be a little bit boring. All right, back to the wine. So I think when we're talking about hoppy is a good Japanese drink. Peter, I don't know what you're talking about. Penny, this beef recipe that Angela made for me was the special recipe that she found. I sent an easy beef chili recipe, but it didn't have the ancho chilies in it, and I don't think it had chocolate in it. But that's a real trick with Mexican food. A little bit of dark chocolate in a slow cooked meat dish, whether it be chicken or beef or pork or lamb, kind of brings out the flavour of the chili and the spices really nicely. And the Mexicans love a little bit of dark. It's kind of usually high cocoa, low sugar content chocolate. But Penny, I think Angela sent me the link to her recipe, so I can probably share that with you guys afterwards. So thank you, Craig. I will get onto my normal. Okay, so I should have done that at the beginning. I made a promise that I was going to do a proper tasting note at the beginning of the tasting rather than getting distracted by food and gossip and things like that. So, okay, so it's quite pale garnet in colour. On the nose, it's got, I think it's got a really lovely red cherry fruit aroma. It's got little hints of woody herbs. So what I mean by that is a little bit of rosemary, a little bit of thyme, maybe a little bit of oregano in there. There's also some, as I said before, some sort of lifted coriander seed, not the leaf, but the seed that you use in cooking, and cumin seeds in there as well, giving it a little bit of lifted perfume. I also get a little bit of pomegranate in the nose. It's got this kind of crunchy red lift to it. Then on the palate, it's got more of that sort of juicy, crunchy red cherry. It's less herbal and less spicy on the palate. It's kind of more sort of almost a sour cherry kind of a note. The tannin and the acid is there, is present. I would call that sort of medium tannin and medium acid. It's got some nice long. It's got almost a sour cherry kind of flavour on the finish, and almost a little. You know when you eat a red plum and it's got those plums that have like really tannic skins, and you kind of chew on the skin, and the skin's what you've got left, and you don't have the sweetness of the flesh. Right at the finish of this one, you get that kind of that tannic, slightly bitter, slightly sour plum kind of a note, which I think is maybe slightly challenging, but also I find it quite refreshing and makes me want some more food and some more wine, makes me sort of a bit hungry, thirsty. So for me, that would be how I'd sort of describe that wine. It's got medium length. I think it's good quality for the WSET students. It's good quality, relatively straightforward, but nice depth and medium body weight to it. From a very cool climate, 2020, which is something that we forget, that it was a cool climate because we had all those bushfires in summer, and then we went straight into a pandemic. So we're all a bit traumatized by 2020 as a year. But down on the Mornington Peninsula, the 2020 grape growing climate was quite cool, and so you get those really kind of red, crunchy fruit characters in the wine. Kurt, that's an excellent question. Length means length of flavour, so it's really about how long you can taste the wine in your mouth after you've swallowed it. And we're talking about nice flavours. If there are horrible flavours in the wine and that's what's left in your mouth, you don't really kind of celebrate that. You don't celebrate that sort of length. But this wine for me has that kind of red cherry, sort of almost salted Japanese plum, I think, on the finish. And that slightly sour, slightly red, sweet fruit character stays in your mouth for quite a long time. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about length. Peter has been telling us about hoppy that they mix with shochu and ice. Is hoppy a type of beer, Pete? I think it sounds like a beer type beverage. It might not be quite beer. What else are people saying? Oh, Peter and Karen, there were ancho chilies in my recipe. Okay, cool. Thank you. They're pretty good, the old ancho chilies, if you can get hold of them. If you can't get hold of ancho chilies, just use other chilies. It won't be as authentic, but it can work really well. It's imitation beer. Thank you, Peter. What makes it imitation beer and not real beer? Is it made from hop-flavored products rather than real hops? Or I'm fascinated. We should do a Japanese beverages conversation one of these days. I think I need a little bit more Pinot Noir. It does open up late, Craig. I would chuck it in a decanter. Chuck it in a decanter quite roughly just before you drink it, and I think that will help that wine. It's weird as well because it's the 2020 Devil Ben Creek Pinot. Our distributors, since we reopened after all the lockdowns and restaurants have been open and people have been drinking wine out in the world again, our distributors have gone absolutely mental on this wine. This and also the Estate Pinot Noir, which are the two wines that we make the most of. So good on them. I pointed them in the direction and they've gone crazy. And 2 weeks ago we had 10 pallets. A pallet of wine is 50 54 cases or 56 cases. 56 cases of wine, if that's divisible. My 8 times table was my worst times table when I was at school, and I'm still not very good at it. But it's whatever that, is it 54 or 58, 56? Divisible by 8. The number of, so a pallet of wine is layers of 8 boxes.
Yep.
So I think 56 is divisible by 8 rather than 54. Anyway, we had 10 pallets of this devil being 56? 57.
6 sevens are 56.
8.
Sorry, 7 8 56.
7 8s. Okay, 56. Thank you, Angela. Whew. An architect and a chef and a wine person, second glass of wine. We're doing very well. We should have asked the schoolboy. He would have been able to do it for us like that, I reckon. Yes, 56. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Peter. We worked it out before you typed your messages. What was I saying? Oh, we had 10 pallets of Devil Ben Creek 2 weeks ago. And I wrote to all of our distributors, and we've got a different distributor in Victoria, in New South Wales, in Queensland, and in WA. And I said, hey, guys, we've got 10 pallets of this wine left. The price is going up a little bit with the next vintage, or on the 1st of December, whichever happens first. And they all wrote back and went, can we have like 5 pallets before the 1st of December? So they just sold it like that. So when I put this box together, I was like, we've got 10 pallets of the Devil Ben Creek Pinot Noir 2020. So there'll be plenty for people to buy if they want to kind of stack up for Christmas and for summer. But we've just moved, we've just moved on to the 2021. So we'll put that in the next box and we'll have a taste of that. I think we've got a tiny bit of it at Celador. So for those of you who love Devil Ben Creek Pinot Noir, very good value, Alison, at $30 a bottle, correct. It'll be going up by about 5% with the next vintage, so not too much of a price rise. But yes, we had a bit of a rush on the last 10 pallets, or 560 cases of Devil Ben Creek Pinot Noir. So yeah. Anyway, I think it feels like it's super young at the moment, which makes me a little bit sad because it means that we've drunk all of it too early and now we're moving on to the 2021. The 2021 looks delicious, so no worries there, but it's also very young and we'll probably drink through that fairly quickly. But we'll talk about that another day. I feel like we've kind of just about exhausted. Is everyone happy with my tasting note? Craig, was that a good enough tasting note for that wine? You can see Angela and I are using our Sangiovese shaped glasses, which is also like your kind of every wine glass. If you're only going to buy one glass in your life, one shaped glass in your life, that's the shape you should have because all wines look generally pretty good in that shape. If you want to invest in Pinot Noir glasses, they're sort of a bit more goldfish bowly. They're nice. They take up more space in the cupboard. You can't fit as many of them in the dishwasher, so they have their problems. Whoa, come show everyone. Look what's been being created. Look at that. Taco ravioli. Fusion food. Duck earrings. Okay, so these earrings, they're not ducks actually. They're origami swans, and I have like a matching necklace. There you go. You can see the bigger version. I bought these in the UK and I wanted ducks, but they didn't have ducks. They only had the swans. So yes, I do love these. I always wanted earrings with the dangly chain thing, so I can wear them with the swan up high and the chain hanging down low, or the swan down low. So there you go. Look at that. They're very versatile. I sort of look like a crazy lady now, but that's okay. So yes, these are not available for sale at Moorooduc. I just found them on a walk through London. I think it was a random French jewelry designer. So they're quite cute though, aren't they? Linda has a contact who does make duck earrings, but they don't look quite like that. So thank you. Simon's on. Hi, Simon. Go back and do some cricketing or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. We've drunk all the wine, Simon. Sorry. Okay. So yes. Duck earring. It's all right. We've got
Where's
another.
that?
Angela's got another bottle. It's all right.
It's already seen.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. They do look like ducks. Ethan's done a great job. I think we've all done an excellent job tonight, and I think we might wrap it up now. Before I go, don't forget next week. I think I'll be back at Moorooduc next week, which is quite exciting. I feel like I've been on the world travel. Mexican ravioli earrings would be fantastic, Peter. You can get me some for Christmas. Thank you. That would be lovely. Delightful. I do like food and wine based jewelry. So, just saying. What was it? Next week, Robinson Chardonnay 2020 is the next wine in your box. So see you later, Penny. Yes, 2020 Robinson Chardonnay. It's looking fantastic. Make it cool but not too cold. You can have it in that shaped glass or a Pinot glass, whatever takes your fancy. I will come up with a fabulous food match for you before Monday. I'll send you an email on Monday. I will see you all. And I know some of you have actually tasted the 2020 Robinson Chardonnay. We released it last Sunday at the lunch at Moorooduc. It's looking terrific. I've been showing it around Melbourne the last couple of days. So very excited to share that with you next week. Until then, thank you, everyone. It's been lovely. Ciao, ciao. Enjoy your Pinot and your Mexican food tonight. Cheers. Thank you. Work? No way, Craig. That's awful.